Okay, welcome everybody to another episode of Coffee with ADHD Experts. This innovative series brings together some of the most eminent experts in ADHD and mental health in the world. Let me introduce you to Dr. Norma Echavarria. She's a medical doctor of adult psychiatry, president of ADHD chapter at the AP Argentina, APA International Fellow. She also is a member of the ADHD Federation and Hispanic Psychiatry Association. And myself, Eleonora Giusti, I'm PhD, I'm psychologist and family therapist. I'm vice president of the ADHD chapter at AAP in Argentina. I'm also professor of cognitive therapy at the University of Palermo in Buenos Aires, and a member of the Cognitive Therapy Society in Argentina. So, Norma will introduce you to Jodi.
Yes. Okay, so I'm honored to introduce today to all of you Mrs. Jodi Sleeper Triplett. She's a master certified coach, trainer, mentor, and a speaker as president of the Association of Coach Training Organizations. Jodi's platform focuses on diversity, equity, and inclusion in coach training. Jodi is the recipient of the 2016 Chad Hall of Fame Award and ADHD Coaches Organization Founders Award. She's the author of Empowering Youth with ADHD and contributing author of Becoming Self-Determined, Creating Thoughtful Learners in a Standard-Driven. And let me welcome a friend. Let me welcome you, Jodi. It's a pleasure for us to have you here. So
thank you, Norma. It's great to be back with you again.
You're a personal inspiration and for so many families and people with ADHD. So, Eleonora, if you want to go through the first question.
Please feel comfortable to modify the question if you like. So, as a researcher or psychologist or doctor or whatever, and coach, and being one of the main references in this field, what has led you to work with the ADHD population? And in your opinion, how did your interventions make a difference?
Great question. I started doing this work back in the late 1990s and as a coach, and specifically looking at ADHD coaching, and everyone else was coaching adults and saying, well, you know, adults need help because their childhood without a diagnosis back then made their lives difficult. And what I thought, and from working with some of the adults, they were all saying, I wish I had you around when I was a teenager. I wish you had a chance to talk to my mom when I was a kid. So I thought, well, let's start with children. So I decided that that's what I needed to do. And through volunteering at my son's primary school, meeting children who were really struggling and realizing that they needed someone just to be there, that mirror, that support person. And I began a journey that to this day amazes me to think that I was the first person to actually say, we are going to create coaching and coaching programs for kids. And your second question about how did the interventions make a difference? Wow, beyond my wildest dreams. Absolutely. And Norma, you know this from stories, from people you've met, and it brings tears to my eyes. Just imagine a child with low self-confidence because of struggling with executive functioning skills and being told that they're nothing, not being accepted. What a coach brings is a non-judgmental partnership saying, hey, we're together here. We're going to work together. I don't tell you what to do. You decide what you want to do, and we'll walk through it to see if it's realistic and attainable. So we've helped young people really from the ages of 8 all the way through to college and graduate students to build self-confidence, to feel more self-reliance and self-accepting, to look in the mirror and say, I can do this. And if I can't, it's because I can't do it yet because I don't have the skills yet. And that's where coaching has brought the skills in. And for me, the feedback, the connection, the stories that come back, the emails saying, you might not remember me. And it's like, of course I do. And the number of lawyers and doctors and jet pilots who thought, well, you know, I could never do this because I couldn't focus. It's like, yes, you can. We just have to figure out what it's going to take. So to me, coaching has made a huge difference in the ADHD community at large, around the globe. And as a trainer, I'm proud to know that we have thousands of coaches out there that we've trained to do this work, and it's still not enough.
You train coaches around the world.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
she does.
Great job.
She has an amazing program, and also the passion, the commitment, being so inspirational also. It's like, it's not only just saying people you can, it's just following them until they find out how they can really shine, right? So it's amazing. I think it's important for us also to be opening this coaching world to as a part of what we really need in treatments, because it's something you really deliver for people in families. So let's go through the second question, Jodi, and then
let's go with the second
yes.
one. What have you achieved getting actively involved in this field, in the personal sense, you know? And did you find cultural, social, gender, or age conditioning on that path?
So for me, in terms of achievement, I can say that I'm proud to have stood up for young people, to have pushed through all of those professionals who at the time, and it sort of goes to your second question about some of the conditioning and the roadblocks, that it was, well, you're just a coach. Coaching's fluff. You think you're psychologists and you're trying to do psychology, pop psychology without a license. And I have never, ever stopped continuing to do the work that I do, ethically, morally, and with excellence in terms of the skills. And that's what we do with our training. But for me as a coach, when I approach someone, I want to make sure that I'm the right fit for them. I want to make sure that, hey, do you really need coaching, or do you need a tutor or a therapist? So we have those skills to be able to pull those pieces apart and decide who do you need on your team and who can you work with. So by being actively involved, what I've been able to do is, I'm grateful for the respect that I've gained with professionals around the world in ADHD work, from the psychiatrists, psychologists, researchers, therapists, all the way down the line, because they realize that this isn't about taking the place of anything. This is about an added piece. So it's, if you were going to have a massage and they said, would you like an added treatment, some essential oil with a wonderful scent to add to it to make it work better? That's in essence what we're doing, is adding to it to make sure that all the pieces fit.
So on which step from the way through your ADHD road would you say you are today? And what do you imagine the ADHD field to be like in the future from your standpoint?
Yeah, so when I think about where I am now, I continue to be curious. My determination is stronger than ever, in part due to the greater awareness around cultural and socioeconomic issues in this world, and here in the United States. It's always been there, but more recently in the forefront. And we've changed our training and everything to make sure that we are inclusive and diversified. So for me, having that determination and saying, not only do we want to provide quality ADHD coaching, but the additional piece is to really understand the person that you're coaching. Who are they? Where do they come from? What don't you know about them, or what do you assume that you know? So getting to know the person and really connecting is something that is now blossoming more, and there's more clarity around that value in the cultural connection with people that we coach. And as far as the future, what I see is the need to continue to break down the fear and the stigma around ADHD and executive functioning issues, as well as learning disabilities, so that people are more open to getting help. But also, when it comes to coaching, I don't believe that we are anywhere near the level of popularity is not the word. It's people don't know what coaching is in many parts of the world. And even here, I'm surprised here in the United States that there are times when people say, "Oh, I didn't know about that." It's like, how could you not know about this? So that tells me that when we think about the future includes much more education on everything that's available, not just coaching, because coaching doesn't stand alone for all people. So being able to do more research, which is one of the pieces that is so important. So coaching research, availability, accessibility, and looking at how we can bring more people of all ages to a place where they can choose what they need in terms of services so they can be the human being that they were put on this earth to be.
Your experience with this young people, very young kids, and isn't amazing, and all these families in the road of learning how ADHD struggles are in their lives. What is your experience with them?
Well, yeah, and when we did the research with my coaching model with the Edge Foundation, it opened doors because people previously didn't believe that it would work, and the success rate was incredible. And what I've found from that, and this is why research is so important, we've had the opportunity to do small studies through Children's Hospital with children with chronic illness and ADHD, neurological issues that are related to it. We have some people in Spain doing a similar project, and it's all based on this model that I used to think was just this simple little thing I came up with. But the simplicity is what makes it work for people who need a simple, structured platform from which to grow. And so I see opportunities out there, and really the biggest piece that gets in the way is funding and being able to explain to those who have funding and are interested the true value in investing in coaching and coaching research. And that's something that we're all doing as we're continuing to do all this great work in ADHD.
And if I would like to just say, what would you say to us? You know what, why we're doing this? There are many people. Argentina is a place where we're still fighting against stigma and what they say, ADHD is an invention, ADHD is not real. This is just drug companies making it up, and or just trying to put pills into kids. What would be your message for our community that needs to learn? And you said education is the part we're concerned about.
Yeah, well, first of all, to really learn, not to assume, and not to be afraid to learn, because I know both personally and professionally that not being diagnosed and not being properly medicated leads to horrible things. Leads to drug addiction. It leads to death. It leads to suicide, accidents. And those who are out there opening their eyes and saying, it might feel uncomfortable to accept this. And by accepting it, I am extending the life. It goes back to Russell Barkley's research. I'm extending the life of my life or the life of my child. And if I could have done that as a parent, my son would still be here. And I can say that to the world because no one believed. The professionals thought that you're just a coach. And how do you know there's something? He's no longer here. And that's inexcusable to me. And that's one of the reasons I do what I do. And my message to everyone who's watching this is, please don't let it happen to you, because it's a fight. It's a fight to find good care, but to connect with people and know that we are connected worldwide, and that what you're doing in Argentina is huge, and people outside of Argentina reach out to anyone, anywhere, because that connection can get you what you need and help you to become educated rather than rumors, myths, fears that keep you from moving forward, finding out what's wrong.
Eleonora wants to ask a question to you.
Yes.
One more question, just to ask you about your experience in ADHD adults in the workplace.
Mhm.
Do you coach them in the workplaces, or how is
Yes.
your experience with them?
So I coach adults in the workplace as well as young people. And what I find is that many of them come because of their frustration after being diagnosed when their children are diagnosed, and wanting to succeed. But because of difficulty with executive functioning skills and lack of focus, that's typically what they come for. How can I focus? How can I get enough sleep and calm my brain down in order to be able to be effective on the job? The most brilliant, learned people who come to me and have done incredible things based on their drive and adrenaline and their passion for learning go into the workplace with all that knowledge, and they can't organize their email or their papers, or they're having trouble with their finances, and all that breakdown is what brings them. And by setting up structures and strategies for them, it makes a huge difference. And I have seen the shift, at identifying what is the right career, where do I want to be, and how do my skills and my strengths land? What are they? How can I look at that and accept that as myself, and then say, oh, so this is where I might want to be instead as a career path. So it's a very effective model, and it doesn't have the same concerns as working with a therapist around workplace. Coaches are sort of a typical part of workplace.
I love coaching. And you know what I was thinking as a psychiatrist, when many people are telling their youth experiences or when they were kids, it's like maybe they were functioning, their grades were better, but their self-esteem, their low self-esteem was not addressed. They were like left, like growing up without feeling consistently worth it. So many of this you said, it's like people should believe in their value and their abilities, not only just to end school and work, just to be who they are. So I would say that is what you are really inspiring people when you train coaches around the world. So how many coaches have you already trained in ADHD, Jodi? Do you have that?
Roughly, someone just asked me that the other day, actually. So your question is timely. I would say at least 1,200, and part of that that includes some people who are actually taking the skills and bringing it to. I would say we have about 1,200 coaches that are fully trained and are out there, mostly in the United States, but we have quite a number in different countries. And we have been able to also reach professionals in higher education, starting with disability services and beyond. And what they're doing is taking those who come to training. It might not be the entire department, but some of them come and then they go back and they work with their teams so that they have the coaching skills to be more effective when students come in for accommodations, helping them to structure so they show up more often. So it isn't necessarily that they are certified coaches, but they are using coaching skills. So that's one of our goals and initiatives in 2021 is to increase the number of campuses that the company is connected to, so that we make sure that the language is shifting so these students succeed and graduate and go out.
Great. That's an
Great
amazing
job.
thing.
Amazing.
It's amazing of a job. We are so proud that we got you here, that we were able to invite you and you were able to make the time, because I know you're an extremely busy person. It's hard to find some time, but as a personal friend, because that's how I consider you, Jodi,
Yes.
I respect your work since day one. I know that you are a big one, big person. That's why you are invited to this place. And you have done so much good for this community that I am really thankful in name of everyone. So it's a pleasure. It's a big pleasure
Really
to have you.
Well,
Still,
and your to open up here and to share all this experience with us. Do you have any Spanish program for
We
training
do.
people?
We have
Great.
many people on our faculty who are bilingual, and we have run Spanish programs a few times. And the biggest thing really is being able to find enough people to create a cohort so that we have at least 5 or 6, because that it enriches the learning. But that's something we can do pretty much within, with some notice, just to update our translations. But we keep everything in Spanish and in English, and we've been doing that for about, maybe 6 years now.
oh,
Okay.
it is great.
So-
we will keep open to get in contact. We will open for encouraging more people to get all this learning process that you are able to share with them so generous. So this is going to be great for everybody to be able to listen to you. So as we were it was our inspirational day today having you with us. So thank you very, very much, Jodi.
Thank you both. Take good care.
Thank
Bye.
you very much. Take care
Bye.
of yourself. Bye.